I often get asked this question, what is the craziest case if you wanted to go down a rabbit hole and lose your absolute mind? Maura Murray. Maura Murray, okay? And I'm not saying her name right, but every time I try to say it right, it doesn't come out right. Maura Murray, there is a literal website dedicated to the evidence. From the police logs to the bizarre damage on the car, nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense. You want to go a little bit crazy? Go check out Julie Murray on TikTok. Watch those videos. Maura Murray was never found. February of 2004. To this day, nothing. Nothing. No information has ever been released. No. And this isn't from the family. Family doesn't know. Nobody knows. But what they have been able to uncover is what's really freaking crazy. Like, nobody ever investigated the last person she spoke to on her computer. That person was never contacted until her family did, until Julie did, her sister. The last call she ever tried, that she actually successfully made, that person was never spoken to. It's unbelievable to me that these 2000s cases are so disregarded every time. And it's so critical, right? Like, Heather Bish taught me a lot about, like, the first 48, you know? Let's talk about the first 24, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, the most important thing is critical information, which would be the last people that saw them or spoke to them, right? They might be able to shed some clues. But this story gets crazy. Every second that you listen to Julie tell you about this stuff, the more you won't believe it. The more you're going to go a little bit Looney Tunes, because it's not possible unless something happened and somebody really didn't want somebody to figure it out. And I mean really didn't, because this stuff makes categorically no sense at all, okay? No body was ever found. The canines that were sent tracking dogs went from her car to the middle of the road. There was snow everywhere, not a frickin' footstep. Police logs just stop being recorded around the time when she goes missing. Somebody actually stops on the side of the road, asks her if she needs any help. She says, no, thank you. They leave. And when they come back, they see that the car's locked and she's nowhere to be found. But we're not talking about this guy went back to his house 15 minutes away. We're talking about this guy, Butch Atwood, going down the road like a minute, like 60 seconds, talking to his wife and then coming back to the scene. What the hell is that? And then, just to make things crazier, there's somebody sitting on the side of the crash scene because it's their house. And they're looking out their window at this poor girl, and they said to 911, they said, it looks like somebody skid off this area. And this turn was known for having some accidents. And it looks like somebody's smoking a cigarette in their car. They still don't know if it was a cigarette or if it could have been the cell phone light. Back in the olden days, we had flip phones, and there was a little screen that would tell you the time, and that lit up. So it's kind of a very small square, so it could look like a cigarette. Julie actually tested this on her page. Go check that out. You want to get even crazier? Damage on her car that's not conclusive to how she would have skid off the road, because, oh, I don't know, she didn't get into the woods and hit a tree or a pole. The damage wasn't conclusive to how her car was found, to the stuff around her car. Did she hit a ghost car? And those people never saw another car show up. They never saw, another car get hit or something like that. However, I do believe they mentioned that they heard something like an accident. How would she have been able to back up her car out of a snowbank, fix it, and then decide to just vanish? It's very weird. And you can just keep going and going and going, and I can't sit here for 17 hours telling you about every single bizarre clue. But if you want October's rabbit hole case, you want to be spooked, because this one kept me up for a few nights, I'm not gonna lie. Like, there's nothing scarier than real stuff like this. This is mortifying. And it tells me this, and I can say this without any hesitation. This case, out of all the cases I've spoken about, this one, if somebody ever came out and told the story about what happened to Maura Murray, and it's credible, That would be the craziest fucking story anybody's ever heard. It has to be the craziest fucking story. There's no way. There were no phone calls made from her cell phone after she tried to call an inn, and they said, we have no space for you. I think she called the hotline that was supposed to show up some open or available hotels. But after that, nothing. So she couldn't have called somebody for a ride. We don't have the cell phone. She has it on her. Maybe not. It's been a long time. But had it on her at the time when she vanished. Along with, I think, her backpack and what she was wearing on her. Which was not hefty February, New Hampshire clothes in the middle of the night. Absolutely, it's not. It's the scariest thing I've ever heard of in my life, because I don't think, in my heart, and I'm saying this before anybody goes into this and starts, but I'm going to give you a little opinion ski, okay? It's a 20-year-old case, so don't come at me, but I don't think this is a stranger that did this. I think this is somebody that was involved, that was part of this laundry list of names, and I don't think I'm the only person that thinks that. I think it's very reasonable to believe that somebody that was there that night knows what happened to Miss Maura Murray. So check out this case, please, and let me know in the comments what you think about this, and let me know if you have checked out Julie Murray's page, because you have to. You have to hear it from Julie. It's so much creepier and scary, and she says it very warmly in a way that makes you feel comfortable, but at the same time, you know she's said this in her head a million times because it seems comfortable to her, but it's probably the most mortifying stuff I've ever heard. I mean, really, I don't have words for it. I don't have words. I get chills thinking about it. I live an hour away. Why am I so close to all these things? You know what I'm saying? But like, that one is probably hands down the creepiest. There was another case like it, if you want to check that one out. And I do forget her name, and I apologize. You're gonna know it now that I said it. Somebody's gonna probably drop the name. Similar circumstances. The car was found up against a barn. The person was never seen again. So, you know, I don't think people were out driving around looking for crashed cars and women in desperate need to murder. That's just my presumption, you know what I'm saying? Because it's such a tight-knit situation. And they did get access to go into a few of the houses that previously would not allow them to search, and it came up inconclusive. Like, they never found more or essence of dead, you know what I mean? So with dogs and stuff, like, they did a full search of this one house. So yeah, good game. Enjoy that. The spooks, the spoops, the thrills. But it is real. So have compassion, you know, and take this as a sign of nothing is scarier, okay, happy Halloween, than a young woman going missing. Probably the scariest thing is you're never found. No closure for anyone. Like, nothing. Like, no... That family will not know until they find a body if their daughter is suffering. You know what I mean? Like, that's... And I know that that's the case for a lot of young people in America, but this has been going on for 20 years, and there's not even a hint of what happened to her. She was in the middle of nowhere. She couldn't go missing. It's impossible to. I mean, the snow alone would have had footprints in it. They drove up and down the road. Somebody was there. And somebody that was a part of this investigation knows what happened, huh? I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments.